You want me to clap?
Yes, please clap. What's up, spookies and spookettes? Welcome back to another episode of Scary Itches. Go check out our newly released YouTube page and Facebook page at Scary Itches for both of them. Like and subscribe, and let's get spooky!
I also just want to give a shout out to all of our non-binary spoops.
Yes, sorry. Spookies, spookettes, and spookex.
I was going to say spacem, but
I like spookex.
Spookex. Oh,
Spookex.
That sounds like
that's good. That's good.
That sounds like the new NASA project. SpookX. Well, what's going on, everybody? What do we do this weekend specifically?
I went camping.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's a scary thing to do.
It is very scary.
I bet the
also when
bugs were scary.
The bugs were hella scary. You should see this fucking growth I've got going on in my leg right now.
Whoa.
Hopefully spiders won't burst out of it.
Or like a giant tick.
Oh god. Oh
The
god.
tick.
I did get that really satisfying thing when you smash a mosquito and blood just spurts
Yes.
everywhere.
Ugh.
That got to happen. So that was exciting.
What are those big fucking mosquitoes called? Like the daddy
Those are-
long
I always thought those
motherfuckers?
were just female mosquitoes.
No, those are male mosquitoes.
Okay, okay.
The female mosquitoes are the small ones, and they need the
Oh,
protein
okay.
when they have eggs, and so they drink our blood.
Oh.
Usually, mosquitoes only eat like nectar and
Ass.
other various
Like
things.
I didn't
and
know if that
asses.
was just like a myth my mom told me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you drive by, well, a lot of people might not know this. We live in farm country, but when you drive by a farm and there's all these little white domes, that's where all the baby cows are.
Oh,
My
yeah.
mom would always say, "Oh, that's all veal," and I was so
is.
sad that
Oh,
they were
man.
all gonna die. And
Aren't they chained in there?
Yeah,
Like, they
that
can't
is
get
all
up?
veal.
no, PJ told me, my husband told me that is not true. That's just where they keep the babies. So I'm just gonna believe
I think
that.
PJ just wants you to feel better because it is all veal. They
Okay,
purposely put them
well.
in those cages so they don't move around a lot. This is nice and depressing. Anyway,
Yeah.
back to me camping.
Moving on.
So I went camping in Paradox Lake, which sounds
It sounds really cool
fucking
It does.
cool.
and really scary.
I guess it's called Paradox Lake because it flows opposite.
No, there's two docks.
Yeah, there's two
sounds cool.
ducks. I think actually fucking Matt Hall was like, "What? 2 ducks? There's just 2 ducks like hanging
two-
out in a lake." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." So yeah, it flows the opposite direction of like all the other lakes in the region. It's about, I think it's like an hour and a half south of here. It's right next to Scroon Lake.
Oh.
So
I
yeah,
thought it was Shroon Lake.
I thought it was
yeah,
Shin Lake, too.
it's pronounced like school. So how's school?
Man, fuck school. I'm doing podcasts.
This is like North Country slang. Everything has like 12 different names.
It's true. Like
Yeah.
Shiuler Falls.
I say Schuyler Falls.
Yeah, it is actually Schuyler Falls. I just pronounce it that
okay,
way when I'm
okay.
trying to figure out how to
Ooh.
fucking spell it.
Good
Matt-
old Chazzy.
Matt Hall
Yeah.
from Trashburg, he likes to say Aussible.
Yep. Possible chasm.
Yeah, Possible Chasm. So we went camping this weekend and something spooky happened, you guys. I didn't hear about it until after the fact, but so Jay's sister. So one awesome thing about Paradox Lake is that it's the middle of fucking nowhere, and there's loons. So like all night long,
You're a fucking loon.
yeah, just a bunch of fucking weirdos just running around, just like, oh, the people. So it was like stereotypical camping in the Adirondacks. You hear like the like in the background all night long, and then there'd be like a fucking barred owl just be like,
The
Then
first
like
one,
a ruffled grouse.
oh yeah, I
The-
can't do those.
the
Is that
first-
Yeah.
the first
Yep.
sound he did sounds like the wife of the Bigfoot from the first episode.
Oh, yes.
And then,
All right,
yeah.
so you're camping.
So we're camping, and so at one point, this one owl, and it was a barred owl, was going fucking insane, and it was like maybe like in a tree at least 10 feet away from our fucking tent, and it just all night just just rapid fire, and we're just like, he just wants all the bitches in his tree right fucking now. So it wakes all of us up, and Jay and I are in our own separate tent, and then his sister
Why?
has our own separate tent.
Oh, I thought this was like the 50s.
No.
You slept in separate beds. You
Well, we do sleep in separate
tents.
beds, but that's because he's a fucking heater when we're camping, and
Okay.
I don't
oh
want
my
that.
god.
So, and Erica and our 2 nieces, Erica is Jay's sister.
Okay.
She and the girls are in a separate tent in a separate campsite. So they can also hear the owl. So technically, all of us woke up at the same time because this owl was fucking losing his shit, right? And Anna, my oldest niece, she's about 11. She turns to Erica and she's like, "Mom, there's somebody walking outside of our tent."
Fuck that.
And Erica's like, "No, just shut up, honey. Like, it's fine." No,
just
Mom, there's somebody walking outside of our tent. And she's like, "Anna, there's nobody outside the tent." Didn't finish her sentence. And she said it felt like somebody like dumped a bucket of ice on her.
Wow.
And she got quiet. And Anna was like, Mom. But Erica was like freaked out because she was like, there's something like in the tent with us.
What?
And Erica is very, very sensitive to spirit stuff. She's been that way since she was a kid. Both her mom and her dad, who was like hard as nails, Adirondack, kill deer with my bare teeth kind of a guy. He will not admit to being like spiritual or anything, but he's like, yeah, Erica senses things. And mediums are just fucking attracted to her like goddamn like moths to a candle. It's insane. But anyway, so she was like, there's somebody in here with us. And she's just like, I tried to keep calm. And I just told myself like, you don't need to be in here and you can go on now. And it lasted about 5 or 10 more seconds and then it just vanished. And she's like, Anna, just go to bed. So the next day, she couldn't tell us because obviously the girls are running around. And the last thing you wanted to tell is like,
ghost.
Dude, I saw a fucking ghost yesterday. Like,
Kids,
then Anna,
yeah,
because then they will literally never want to go camping there ever again.
They'll never
no.
sleep. They won't sleep for the entire summer.
Exactly. So, but the campsite is super awesome. And I always got like a really good vibe from it. But there are certain sites where when you look out into do you guys ever get that sense where like you're at a campsite and you look into the woods and you can just tell that the woods are looking back at you?
I mean, sometimes.
Have you ever been somewhere that you got that? Paradox is full of that.
Right.
Like if I stand on the edge of the campsites, and I do it with every campsite we go to, I stand at the edge of the campsite and I look into the woods just to get a vibe. Every single time when we're in Paradox, something is looking back at me. Ugh. And I feel it every time. But you can gauge, it's like, are you a good witch or a bad witch? So I just wanted to share that because I thought that was so crazy because we just did, the first episode last week and then this happens this week and it was just insane.
Ooh,
and I heard a bunch of other spooky tales about Erica's growing up and I'll save those for a later episode. But I thought that was so exciting to share. I was mad that I only got to deal with the owl and I didn't get to see the ghost.
Yeah,
that's fine, I guess.
Asshole owl.
For the record, this whole time I thought it was a barn owl.
Nope, it's a bird.
Well,
there is a barn owl.
Okay.
But
what is it?
A bard.
A bard.
Oh, like it plays a lute for money from the plebeians?
It's a bard owl because it has like stripes on it because it's barred. Like it has bars on it.
Oh, right. That's way less cool.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not cool at all.
Yeah, this whole time I was like, oh man, I've been thinking this is a barn
If you ever
owl.
hear that, they're super common. Like if you ever hear the that's a bard owl. You cook for me?
An old man finds you attractive.
Yes, that too.
Oh,
Lord. God calling is fine.
So you guys want to do a tarot card?
Yes.
Let's do a tarot card.
So if this is really bad, it's Andrew's fault.
Oh, that was my fault last time. Oh, yeah, because I shuffled them.
Oh, my God!
Oh, no.
Is it the barn owl?
The fucking devil.
Oh, shit. Is that Black Phillip?
The sign of the beast.
Oh, I talked about this on Trashcast a little while ago. Did you guys see the movie The Witch?
Yes.
Yeah, it was okay.
You didn't like it?
No, not really.
Oh, it got me so good, man. It didn't really scare me. It creeped me out, but like just the seriousness of the story.
So like knowing about the witch, and I was working for Charter at the time. I was in Vermont, backwoods, middle of fucking nowhere, alone, all of a sudden, not even kidding, on the side of the road because I was playing Pokemon Go.
Yep.
A black fucking goat just strolls out of the fucking woods. And yeah, I have a picture of it on my cell phone, and I'm like, holy shit, it's Black Phillip. But it just stood in the middle of the road, and I'm just like kind of trying to ignore it, and then it just like trotted away. But yeah, middle of nowhere, and this black goat just comes out of nowhere.
I like the idea that the devil just kind of jumped down and was like, I see you, bitch.
I see you. I see you.
Like, what up? Hail yourself, bitch.
He's like, I was gonna nab you, but I saw that sage, so I gotta go.
Oh fuck. Okay, so here is the devil.
Yeah.
Addiction.
Shit.
Negativity.
Ooh.
I just want to
Andrew.
reiterate that Andrew's the one who pulled this card. Where
I shuffled the deck.
You were looking.
Okay.
Fucked it
Your
all
energy got smudged all over it. Okay. Though it may feel frightening when the devil appears in your reading, this card carries an urgent message and must be interpreted with total honesty. The darkness of the devil card takes the form of addiction, negativity, and materialism. It can indicate an ugly relationship with a person or substance. Identify this dependency and how it's holding you back. The devil's hooves are strong and relentless. Their grip will not loosen unless a conscious change is made. Free yourself.
Free
Whoa.
yourself.
There you go. Can you take me? I don't know why it made me think of that.
With thighs wide open.
With
I'm
thighs.
trying with thighs wide open.
So, there's that fun.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, Andrew. Mm.
I'm having a hard time relating
Everything's.
to it because I don't
Everything's. I think you can interpret it many different ways.
Yeah, I think it feels like things are really pretty good recently.
Yeah.
I have like some minor addictions, like we all do.
Right.
But like, I don't know. I'm not. Like,
I mean, you don't chain smoke like Liz and I do.
no,
so-
I don't smoke. I don't drink too
Or
much.
do meth like I do.
No one's doing meth.
What we're gonna do next week is gonna be a special
Meth.
episode where we're gonna do meth
Yeah.
and then talk.
No.
about,
I'm
yeah.
excited about that.
Stay tuned, everybody.
Because meth is probably the spookiest of all.
I mean,
the
I've
drugs.
done accidental meth, but that's it for a different story.
That's wow.
That's
that's
that we're gonna table that.
that might be a different podcast.
It was a total accident.
Speaking of meth, never mind.
I had this.
It was a total accident. It's a really long story.
Are you trying to say?
I was gonna say, speaking of meth, let's talk about Lyon Mountain now.
Oh, no. Oh, Lyon Mountain.
All right.
I'm
Well, there's
fully
our.
kidding. We can edit that out later if we need to.
We're keeping it in. That was our terrible.
No, you can't keep that in.
That was our terrible
That's
tarot
very
card.
classist.
Oh, that's what we call our terrible tarot card reading. But all right, so
Or tarot.
let's get into the fucking
Okay.
story.
So Lyon Mountain, we've been talking about going there for a couple weeks and it just hasn't happened yet. But we are planning on going. We were planning on going tomorrow.
Oh yes,
But
as
then we realized it's the 4th of fucking
it
July.
turns out,
We be bad patriots.
it's the country's birthday. Yay! But boo.
So we didn't want to go on the 4th of July.
Why were we gonna go? What's the plan of us going?
So we were going to go. It's this old mining town where the mining operation has since been closed down, but the mines and the buildings and everything are still there. So we were going to go just check it out because people have said in the Adirondack region that it is haunted.
Yeah,
So we were like, well, let's check it out. Let's go for ourselves and check it out.
and it's kind of like a common haunt for people to go check out. Is that
Yeah,
the right word?
and actually somebody on my Facebook, I sent you guys the pictures, just went there yesterday and I
Yeah.
was like, look, she put some pictures on her Facebook. So
there's the graffiti that said "fuck bitches, get monies."
That was a ghost.
And just as a side note, that may be our first trial edition. There's gonna be an additional type of Scary Itches episode
Yeah.
where we go on like these spooky little haunty jaunts and
Yeah.
explore an area and then come back and talk about it. So
Yeah, we get to watch Andrew get scared.
yeah, it'd be real
and
scary.
because this woman from my Facebook feed put, oh, how do I get to the mines? Somebody gave her an exact address, so now I know exactly
Oh,
where to
shit.
go,
All right,
which I
cool.
knew the general area. But
I'll
I'm
program it into the Garmin.
yeah,
Yes.
to typing in
So-
spooky scary place.
So,
Spooky, scary face.
like, Lyon Mountain is not that far from here. It is a little hamlet, technically,
Really?
according to the census. It is a little hamlet located in Standish, which I guess I didn't even know where Standish was. I thought it was in Saranac, which it is, I guess, in the Saranac area.
Mm.
They're like the same place, right? Andrew,
I
you're from
think so.
Saranac?
I'm not. I went to school in Saranac High School, but
But Standish?
it's pretty far away. I think.
Oh, I guess I just don't know the area that well.
it's rough. I don't really either.
Which is like, it's like 25
There's
miles from here.
There's a town 10 minutes away from my school called Redford that I didn't know
Right.
about until
I was
Redford.
just about to say, isn't it near Redford?
I didn't know about it until 10th
It's like
grade. I'd never heard
Saranac,
of it.
Standish, Westport, Redford.
Peasleyville.
Yeah,
Right.
Pleasantville.
Yeah.
They're all kind of like those weird outside towns.
Yeah.
Ellenburg,
Yeah,
Depot.
Depot,
and
that's
I
the
never
one.
really go out that way unless I'm driving through there because I have no
So-
reason to stop in Standish.
So what's so spooky about Lyon Mountain?
Well, Lyon Mountain is not actually, lion like the animal. It is named after Nathaniel Lyon, Lyon,
Old Nate Lyon.
Old Nate Lyon, who settled in Saranac in 1803 or 1804. Not quite sure of the date, but one of those years. It's about 10 miles from Saranac's about 10 miles, I guess, from the base of Lyon Mountain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not that far from Saranac. He was one of the first settlers in that part of the country, actually. So, if you've ever been to northern New York, I guess nobody was there then and nobody wants to be here now.
But Nate Lyon.
But Nate Lyon really wanted to be there. The community itself was founded around 1868 and until about 1967 was a company-owned community, which I was unaware of.
What's that mean?
So a company-owned community, this is where there was a big mining operation of ore was being mined out of there. So they were really owned by this mining company.
What was it what kind of mine was it again? It was
an ore, like iron ore.
Okay.
Like an iron ore company. So this whole mining
Is it
business.
iron or is it a company?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So they basically owned the whole town. They owned the whole town. They pretty much owned everybody also.
Well, it's kind of like when the Air Force Base came to Plattsburgh, they built homes
Yeah.
for all the people who were going to be part of the Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like that. So around 1823, ore was discovered there by this trapper named George Collins. Not
Mr.
much more
Collins.
was done in that area until a group of 4 business dudes made a contract with a landowner named Edmund Rogers to purchase 4/5 of his property and no more.
4/5.
Only 4/5. There
Other
were
parts from a shitter.
other parts from a trapping. And there were some legal issues in the purchase of the property. Not quite sure what those were.
It was haunted as fuck.
Yeah, they were like, hell no.
Can we get a discount because this shit's haunted?
Legally, if we ask you if someone's been murdered on the property, you're supposed to tell us.
God damn it.
So it was a Native American burial ground. That's not true at all. I'm just totally, that's
That'd been
always
way
like,
cooler if it was. No, I'm kidding.
no one has said that it is, but no one has said that it's not.
No.
I never really know.
So I don't think it was. But anyway, they were there first, but I don't think it was. You know what? I'm just going to move on.
All right.
So 2 people ended up owning the property. These 2 people formed a partnership, which became the Chateauguay Ore and Iron Company. And in the fall of 1973, the work began to develop the land. So in the beginning, there were only a few small, houses, a few buildings. There was a wooden church, a school, and about 40 houses, which is not a lot. But considering everybody had like 20,000 kids,
Yeah.
so I don't actually know how many people there were, but
There's 40 houses, but there was a population of 20,000.
population of 20,000. No,
Hugely
not
underburned.
really. I'm not really sure. But in 1879, a post office went up. They were getting big.
That's big. Post
that
office,
was
that's big
that
time.
was big.
That's big time.
So the post office was established, a general store. What?
Whoa.
And finally, the first railroad station. Sorry, it is Motorcycle City here in Plattsburgh.
I wonder if 4th of July is like motorcycle fun. I'm sorry, like I don't care if this makes me like an 80-year-old woman. I fucking hate motorcycles. At me.
I'm not
I
a
hate the sound
motorcycle
of it.
person either. I'm just
No.
like, really? Okay.
I think they look awesome, but like I fucking hate the sound. And like with the crotch rockets, anyway.
Orange
sorry.
County Choppers is my favorite
That show was awesome,
Dude,
I
I
just don't
can't
like
tell
the
you.
noise. They're because they tend to like gurgle by at the most inconvenient moments.
Gurgle.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
just
always just like when you're trying to tell an important detail and it's like,
Trying to tell a fucking
I'm like,
You're on the
really,
phone.
dude? It's like a really important phone call with your insurance company.
I'm trying to go see your church.
I'm trying to talk about haunted ass Lyon Mountain.
I'm trying to talk about the Chateauguay Iron Ore Company. So anyways, so the first railroad station went up. And it was called the Chateauguay Railroad Company in December of 1879. And right in December of 1879, the first train of ore was shipped out to nearby Plattsburgh, New York.
Whoa.
What? So that was their first shipment. Their first shipment of ore went out to our neck of the woods.
What did we do with it? We'll probably just threw it in the lake.
That's probably where those like coal tar sediments. No, that's cool.
Plattsburgh doesn't know how to do anything with anything, so we're just like, we bought it.
And
They
used that metal to build the scenic monopole.
Yes.
And has since then not been renovated in the slightest.
We're all drinking it. It's in the water.
Yeah, right. I was wondering if the general store that they established after the post office is the original, the one that's in Lyon Mountain right now. I wonder if that's the original general store.
You know, I could look that up and find it out, but I don't have the answer for you right now.
That's fine. I'm just,
I mean, it very well could be.
Mind.
It very well could be.
Yeah.
But we're going to go there and check it out and see what's there. I mean, maybe we'll figure it out. So anyway, right about then, the ore company really gets going. Miners start coming in right and left. They're coming right off the boat. The what? The miners are coming. Coming all over everything.
They're making babies.
So they're coming off the boat. They're just coming everywhere.
Off the side of the boat.
There's semen and cum everywhere.
There were probably some semen there.
There were probably some semen.
During off season.
Well,
off-season semen.
Off-season semen coming.
Very good.
There's just cum everywhere in the Adirondacks, I guess.
Ew.
Anyway, they are leaving the boat. I'm not going to say coming again. They're leaving the boat from Ellis Island. A lot of these miners came to the Adirondacks, said came again, from not just this area, but they really migrated. I'm trying not to say came or come.
You can keep saying it. It's fine.
Okay. So they came from all over the world. They came all over the world.
Yikes, my God.
They came together.
Goodness
all
gracious.
across the world.
Okay, reel it in. All right, bring it in, Amanda. Okay. I'm going to say it. They came from all over the world. So they came from places like with their families from Poland, Italy, Russia, Ireland, Canada, Hungary, Mexico, all over the place. They came everywhere. And during the 1870s, Lyon Mountain was like really booming. They were like, hell yeah, this place is populated. It's got the church. It's got the general store. It's covered in cum. They're going to the post office, coming all over everything.
I'm canceling this episode. We're not doing this anymore.
And so there was a guy who came in, a leader, a mine superintendent. He was also coming all over everything. No, he wasn't. Maybe he was. I don't know.
We don't really know.
So the mine superintendent, he was like a ruler. He was like King Joffrey of Lyon Mountain. He was like a little weasel dick.
King Jeff.
King Cum Dick.
Oh my God. Okay.
Anyway, some people say that he did do some good things, and he did do a few good things, but for the most part, he was like a total fucking loser. They like brought him in, came in to rule like this cruel King Joffrey dude who ruled over all the men from the end of World War I through most of World War II. And he's referred to only as JR, who was brought in.
Stuff.
What?
You ever watch that show? JR. Puffin stuff.
No.
Nope. Let's continue.
Okay. Anyway, they called him JR, who was brought in to impose civil order because people were just, although the town was booming, people were just going fucking buck wild. They were knifing each other. They were alcoholics. They were like, bleh. They were like fucking each other's wives. The shit was getting out of control because for one, these people, there were so many groups of people from all over the world. A lot of them didn't understand each other because they were all speaking different languages. So there was like, this is fucking gangs in New York shit. There was like the Irish over there, the Italian over there, and they're like, we're going to knife the Irish. It was like
the Hungarians over there.
Yeah, the Hungarians are like sewing their really cool patterns on shirts and and shit was just getting out of control. So they brought this dude in to impose civil order because in the town there was just, like I said, there was a lot of gang violence, alcoholism, extortion, yada, yada, yada. So JR was also brought in to reduce the fatality rates amongst the men working in the mines. He wasn't very good at it.
How could, yeah.
He wasn't. To just like stop fucking killing each other. That'd be great. Thanks.
Come on.
Yeah.
Just take their knives.
So not only was he supposed to stop these people from like fucking killing each other, he was supposed to keep them from dying at their job. But he was also brought in to maximize company profits. And we all know how that goes.
So when do you want your employees to be dying? Never mind. Continue. I'm not going to even. I'm not going to go with that thought.
So he was brought in to maximize the company profits. So they basically said, make sure no one dies, but more importantly, make sure we're making money. That's the most important thing.
Because
make
this
sure we're making
insurance
money.
is going
If somebody
up our
does
ass.
die, make sure we have somebody there to cover their shift at all times.
Yeah,
just in case.
somebody
You
dies,
can
just
die, but
kind of like
you can find somebody to cover your shift. Just one, you know, that'd be great.
if it's like it was like a roadkill situation, just kind of scrape them
Scrape
off
to
the
the side.
path.
Throw them down
They're
a
okay.
shaft.
It's all right. Just bury them later. It's fine. So these men worked in terrible conditions. I mean, they worked 12-hour shifts in dark tunnels. Sounds like my job. Just kidding. It doesn't at all. That's not what it's like at
You
all.
were the co-op. It's like one of the most gorgeous places.
The sun is shining. There's a fucking bird on my shoulder.
Like saffron and lavender.
Oh, yeah. It's not. It's like the total opposite of my job. Anyway, so they worked 12-hour shifts in dark tunnels. And they were too low to even stand in. So these people were like kneeling. They're hunched over. There was no training, no days off. They were unprotected. There was no protection for them. I think they had a hard hat, maybe. There was
Wrap this burlap sack around your face.
Yeah, I was gonna say back then it was probably made out of like
wear a coonskin cap. You'll be fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there was poisonous gases coming from these mines also. I'm not making this shit up. This is totally true.
They probably did the canary thing, right? Because
The canary
they
thing.
actually used they actually used canaries in mines. 'cause
Oh,
they're-
they threw them in there, and then if they didn't come back, they're
They-
like, "Don't fucking go down."
I
that
don't
one.
even think JR cared. He
Probably
was
not.
there for company profits.
No, so explain the canary thing.
Well, so canaries have really, really sensitive circulatory systems.
And they're bright
and
red.
they're bright yellow.
Fuck.
But what they do is they would keep canaries in little cages, and then they would create a new part of the mine, leave the canary there, walk away, and like let it hang out. And then when they would go back, if the canary was dead, then they're like, "Oh fuck, we need to get the fuck out of here," because
Jesus
that meant that the
Christ.
canary would breathed in the gaseous fumes and it died.
Wow.
So if the canary died, then that means people would obviously definitely die.
Yeah.
And so that's where the term canary in the mine shaft comes from, because
crazy.
it's an actual thing. They killed a lot of birds.
Well,
Fuck
I mean, it
canaries.
was, I guess, better than people. I mean, I really do love animals. I hate to say that. But.
If Liz was choosing the animals, it probably would have been the barred owl.
Barred
Throw a little
owl,
fucking-
just-
You know,
Stuff
owls, for
it.
the record, are actually really fucking stupid.
Yeah, they're unbelievably dumb.
like really, really
their eyes
dumb.
take up most of their skeletal.
So
like, their
it's
skull.
they're known to be like the symbol of knowledge, but they're like literally
One
the
of
most
the dumbest
idiotic.
birds.
Yeah, totally, really stupid animal.
I'm an owl.
They look cool.
So anyway,
This is my tree.
back to the Lyon Mountain mining industry. That was very southern. We're in the north here.
Mountain mining industry, growing up on sweet tea and Jesus.
So anyways, so the poisonous gas, that was real. I'm not making that shit up. And I don't think they used the canaries. I didn't read anything about canaries.
They use the Hungarians.
They used the Hungarians.
No, that's
they
a lie,
did
too.
not.
I'm
That,
not
yeah,
gonna-
that's not true. That's
Don't
not
get
true.
Inflammatory here.
Nope, not true at all. So there was a lot of explosions also because of equipment malfunctions. They just were not being like looked after. Nobody really cared.
So
They were
it sounds
just,
like people were basically fucking dying.
oh
left
yeah,
and right.
yeah. They were
Okay.
totally just dying all the time. Gases.
And you're
frickin-
in the middle of the fucking Adirondacks.
You're in the middle of the Adirondacks.
So winter was probably awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm
On
sure.
a mountain.
I'm sure it was great. I'm
They're-
sure they had a great time.
They're
They played
pr-
Boggle.
Trying
They're
scurvy.
like their head protection was the same as their winter protection.
Yeah.
So, like,
They got some mucklucks and a coonskin cap.
Yeah.
But
Just don't take your toque off.
there's
Go
also a
down
lot
in the
of
mines.
there was a lot of dynamite that I think people forgot where it was, and that kind of went off all the time. This is I can't even make this shit up. This is totally true. So the tunnel floors and ceilings were caving in all the time. And I did right. The workers were provided hard hats.
Oh.
They were. So they did have a hard hat. It's all right. It's all right. Gases, no problem. They got a hard hat. No problem at all. No days off, got a hard hat.
just hold your breath.
Hold your breath because you got a hard hat. So they were provided with a hard hat. Okay. Good job, JR. But all of their other required safety equipment, the miners had to purchase themselves.
That's
Jesus.
dumb.
So they were
This
paid
is
very
before-
little.
This is before OSHA.
Yeah.
This is definitely before OSHA. So they got paid very little, and their required materials they had to purchase.
Like a pickaxe.
But I don't think
some guy didn't have enough money to get a pickaxe, so he's just scraping at the
Could
wall
I,
with his hand.
he's got like a spatula.
Yeah.
You guys, can I borrow your pickaxe?
Yeah. Don't tell my wife I took the spoons from home.
So yeah, and I think the required material, they didn't even actually, they said it was required, but I don't think anybody
Probably,
actually had it.
Yeah,
So
okay.
they were like, it was a suggested
Canary.
material.
Where's your canary?
Where's your, you better have that canary. So they did not. I think they had hard hats. That's what they had.
Okay. They had
Needless to
hard hats.
say, many people died. A lot of people died. A lot of men specifically. Sorry, ladies. They were just not mining at the time.
I mean, if everyone's dying though, like the wives are at home, probably like, well, fuck Phil. Thank fucking
He's
God.
dead.
I don't have to deal with him anymore. Except now I'm gonna die because of starvation. I'm not allowed to have a job.
I'm not like,
And I couldn't technically find how many people died. I'm not sure who
Well,
really.
it's not like the company's gonna keep record of how many
Yeah.
fucking people they're responsible.
I mean,
for their
JR
death.
only cared about if they were making money.
Yeah.
Not how many people died. He didn't
Yeah.
really.
a
he
true
didn't really
capitalist.
care. He didn't really care. A lot of people died. A lot of men died over the course of the mine life.
They
I
died
guess,
and they had hard hats.
and they died in the hard hats. Believe it or not, the hard hats did not save them most of the time.
Aw.
save their souls.
Didn't.
Oh, no.
It did not save their souls. I can tell you. So up until up until 1940, working conditions improved by law in the mines, and a lot of people stopped dying in there.
That's good.
So people stopped dying around 1940, so that's cool.
Do you think there's like, I like they're not dying anymore, but it's just not as fun as it used to be.
Life in these mines is not as fun as it used to be when people were dying.
It doesn't have the same excitement.
Back in
that
my
it used
day,
to.
people died every day. It's like something my
I mean,
dad
it's
would
still
say.
the 40s, so most people only live to be like 35 anyway.
Yeah.
That's, you know what? You said something like that last time, and
I said that about the 70s.
every generation, everybody dies young. They're just all
everybody
dying.
dies young. Up until now, because we're gonna live forever.
I gotta tell you, my great grandfather is 95.
Shit.
He might not
Hold on.
be quite 95.
When did he die?
He's still alive.
What?
Yeah.
He died, but he's still around.
Yeah.
He's still around.
Still
He
hanging
still
out.
stops
He's
by.
dead inside.
Does a little tap on my window. He's like, "Hey, girl," and he'll just leave. That's not true. I mean, he may do that. He has dementia.
Oh. He's just tapping on your window because he's lost.
He has dementia, but so does his girlfriend. So they have dementia together.
They get lost
It's
together.
like 50 First Dates.
Yeah. Every day is like
Every
a new love.
Oh, it's so scary.
All right,
Anyway.
let's get back to all this death and hard hats.
Yeah.
All the death and hard hats. So basically, conditions got better in 1940. People stopped dying. Wasn't the same as it used to be, but hey.
OSHA came in.
But hey, OSHA
Ruined
came in.
everything.
They were like,
I was
listen,
where the fuck are your canaries?
you can't drink on the job. Stop stabbing each other.
I like the hard hats, but
Speaking of men dying in the mines, a lot of them were married. A lot of them had children. You would think, you die on the job. The job's going to do something nice for you. They're going to help you with your funeral. They're going to do all these nice things. They're going to give your family money. It's going to be nice. Nope, that's not what happened.
like you owe us money for the hard hat we just lost.
Yeah, we just had to clean that hard hat. There was blood in
Blood
it.
all over it.
Bitch. So anyway, when somebody died in the mine and they left a wife and children behind, the company did pretty much nothing. They were pretty much like, ooh, sorry, but fuck you. I don't really care. So because of all that, all the history, I mean, there's more than that, but the mine ended up closing for good in 1967, the good old days of 1967. But a lot of that shit is still there.
They just fucking left it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the buildings and stuff are still there. And
Yeah.
I think they did start a museum, and there has been a big historic association in Lyon Mountain who they've been trying to start. And I think they did start a pretty cool little museum. Maybe we can try and check it out when
Yeah,
we
that'd
go
be
there.
cool to go visit.
We'll be like, hey, great museum. Now we're going to go raid that shit. So that's cool. But I guess locals, there's always been this local lore of people being like, ooh, Lyon Mountain up in the mines, up in the iron ore mines. It's haunted as shit.
Well, Have you guys been to Lyon Mountain frequently?
No, I have never been there.
Really?
Okay,
Never.
So
I kind of have.
I've been through Lyon Mountain a couple of times because I had a friend who lived up there. But also when I lived in Lake Placid, when you're 16 and you live in Lake Placid and one of your friends gets a driver's license, the fun thing to do
Is to drive around.
Fucking leave Lake Placid.
Leave Lake Placid. So we would always go to the 24-hour.
What did you say? You lived there when you were a kid?
I lived there when I was in high school.
Teenager.
So
What? I thought you lived in Kansas City.
I grew up in Kansas City and then I moved to Lake Placid when I was 16.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fucking
So anyway, back to my
confusing
story.
All right, bitch.
Wow.
So we would drive to Plattsburgh in the middle of the night because we would go to the 24-hour Dunkin' Donuts and the 24-hour
yeah.
Walmart.
Yes.
That was like the fun thing to do as a teenager in Lake Placid.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
So one night, we always took the back roads back, and in order to take the back roads, you got to like drive through those towns. And Lyon Mountain was one that we wound up in because we got lost on our way back. I don't know what road that is that leads through there, but anyway.
I don't remember what it's called either.
Yeah. So we were driving through and it was starting to blizzard. Like it was snow was like seriously coming down, and it was myself and 3 of my friends. And we're like, fuck, man, we are lost. Like we have no fucking idea where we are. We're running out of gas. Like
It's like when
scary.
Jack Nicholson froze in The Shining.
So suddenly we see this light from this house, and we're like, holy fuck, we have no idea where we are, but we saw a sign that said Lyon Mountain. So we pull over, and my friend Dylan is like, Justin, you're the biggest. You go to the door, because at this point it's like probably 1:30 in the morning. And so we tell Justin to go to the door and ask the guy for directions of like how can we get out of here.
Right.
So Justin gets out and he's just vanishes into the dark. We're all sitting, snow is falling, it's inches and inches and inches, like it's not good.
He forgot his hard hat.
So
You would have been safe.
Justin was gone for almost 20 fucking minutes. And
Dude,
we're
and
like,
20 minutes sitting in a car in the middle of a blizzard is a really long time. That's like 20 hours.
It was also 20 minutes of us arguing with each other as to who's going to go find out if Justin was murdered.
Oh, shit. This is like already a terrible move. Like, yeah, this guy disappeared. Let's get out of the car.
This was horrifying. So we're trying to figure out what exactly, like, should we call the cops? Like, what's happening? There's no cell service. Should we leave and bring some people to come back? So Dylan's finally like, okay, I'm going to go and see what's happening.
I'm going to go find our dead friend.
Yeah. So he walks up to the house because we parked a relatively far away because we didn't want to like roll up on this fucking house at 1:30 in the morning because all their lights are still on. So that's just kind of weird. So Dylan walks out and he disappears into the dark. And then it's just me and my friend Carrie, and we're sitting in the car, and we're like, "Oh my god! Like this is
both
the
of our friends are
epitome."
dead.
Yeah, this
is
the
like
epitome
a
of
Adirondack
every scary
Chainsaw
movie
Massacre
you have ever seen ever. All of a sudden, not even like a minute later, Dylan and Justin come running back to the car. They slam on the hoods. They like open the doors. They jump in, and Dylan's just like desperately like trying to get the key in, and we're like, "What the fuck is happening? What the fuck is going on?" They're like, "Just shut up. Just shut up for a second. Just hang on." Turns on the gas, and we just like fucking like blast off. And I'm like, "What the fuck happened, Justin? Where the fuck were you?" And he's like, "Dude," and he like whips around and he's staring at us in the back seat, and he's like, "First off, that dude was super nice." And it turns out the guy was just like really lonely. And he was offering Justin like coffee. He wanted him to have some brownies. He was asking
He was trying to kill him.
He was asking him about his family.
So where do you live? What's your address?
Turns out Justin's like related to the guy through like a second cousin or something.
Jesus Christ.
I'm still
like,
calling
everybody
bullshit
here. And so then Dylan is the one who like shows up to get him, right? The guy offers Dylan one of the brownies. Justin's a really nice guy. He will have a conversation with literally anybody, and he's just not good at like knowing when to like break it off. So the guy ended up giving us directions, told us like how to get back to Lake Placid and all that, offered us gas money. And Dylan shows up, and he's like, he sees how uncomfortable Justin is because Justin doesn't know how to break it. And the guy offers Dylan a brownie. Dylan said, "Oh, fuck that, no. And the guy got really insulted looking, obviously.
Yeah.
And
He's gouging eyes.
and Dylan was like, Justin, get the fuck out of here. And that's why they panicked and were running towards us.
Oh my God.
And then we got in. So when we were driving, so Justin had no time to explain to Dylan that he was in no danger whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh,
we
no.
all could have gone in there and had a nice warm meal and some brownies
Probably,
and hung out with
yeah.
this guy. But instead, we chose to just cart off into the fucking darkness.
But you don't know the guy could have been
He was not.
You don't know
He
that.
was not.
You ever see that movie Wolf Creek?
Ah, fuck that shit. And fuck those kids. They're dumb.
Do you ever see Deliverance?
That kid was hella fucking creepy. Or that man in Wolf Creek was hella fucking creepy. There's always a vibe. And this guy apparently did not have a vibe. But anyway, I thought that was funny because we all thought we were going to die. And then Justin just whips around and was like, that
He's
guy
really nice.
was so nice.
See, I feel like I want to be like Dylan, but I am actually Justin.
Oh, you're totally Justin.
I am totally Justin.
I feel like out of everybody in this room, you're the one who might get murdered the
Yeah.
most easily.
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm like, trust no one.
So
Okay.
this Lyon Mountain, that's got to be haunted as fuck. There's got to be
Well-
tons of just negative energy, all these dead ass guys.
Yeah, I mean, people, it is local lore.
Dead ass guys.
Dead ass. So it is local lore. People say it's haunted. I put a post out there in the Facebook world to see if any local people had any creepy stories.
Well, to tie back, Andrew, the guy who saw our cryptid last week,
yep.
He's from Lyon Mountain, and he saw the cryptid
Well, I
in
don't know if
Lyon
he's
Mountain.
from Lyon Mountain.
No,
Maybe
they're
he
all
is.
from Lyon Mountain.
Blah,
Everybody that submitted a story was from Lyon Mountain.
Everyone.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
So Andrew from last week, not our Andrew here.
Not me.
Andrew, who sent me a story, actually the first story I ever got. He saw that crazy ass Sasquatch in Lyon Mountain.
Crazy.
So not only is there dead miners, they're also riding the Sasquatch.
There's ghosts,
well, like
Bigfoot.
Bigfoot is often tied into like weird sort of mythos that it's not necessarily a solid creature, but more of maybe a potential manifestation of some sort of like interdimensional being.
Like the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, like the Jersey Devil. I was about to say kombucha, but I meant to say chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
And
Kombucha
Mothman.
cabra.
Whereas
is
these
scary.
cryptids are actually more of like harbingers of
Right,
things.
right.
And so if anything, maybe what Andrew saw was some sort of crazy interdimensional being that technically could be Sam Squanch or a ghost.
I mean, it very well could be.
Or it
yeah.
was a ghost Sam Squanch.
Ghost
So Sam
Sam.
Squanch.
Or dead miners dressed up like one on top of the other in a Sasquatch outfit.
Or just a bunch of
Two
canaries dressed
smaller
up like a
ones.
dead miner.
Yeah. There's just a couple miners in this Sasquatch outfit. They're like, "Roo." Anyway, it's local lore. The kids in the area. When I was a kid, people always said, "Oh, you ever go out to the mines, the Lyon Mountain mines? It's scary. It's so haunted." And I never have. I have a lot of friends who have, and a lot of people. One guy, Kevin, who I went.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi,
I hope
Kevin.
Kevin is listening.
Fuck you, Kevin.
Kevin, who's a really big dude. He's like, I don't know, 6'2", 6'3", maybe, but he's really stocky. He's
not
got a
scared of
giant
you, Kevin.
beard. He's got a fake tooth in the front. It might be gold now. I'm not really sure.
Huge cock.
I don't know that.
I do.
Don't put Kevin on the spot like that.
Hey, man. Real recognizes real.
I'm not sure
Game recognized
about
game.
Kevin's member size.
Guys, gotta-
Okay, let's continue on then.
Anyway, so Kevin's this big dude. Now he works for a logging company out in Tupper Lake. So he's a
You tell me.
logger.
Logging daddy.
Tell me he doesn't
Yes.
fucking swinging monkey.
I
hog.
don't know.
He's over 6 feet and he's a logger.
I got 3
And he
feet.
wears like bibs all year.
That's
What?
weird.
He's wearing like overalls and
Oh, okay. I was like,
I thought you meant like a baby.
No.
What the fuck?
no, like fucking
Like, well,
Dickies,
that's
Carhartt
ruined.
bibs.
okay, overalls.
Overalls. Yes,
Oh.
yes.
All right.
So he wears those all year long.
little
He's
ducky on
fucking he's logging out in
born.
Tupper Lake, Upper Tupper.
Stop.
So he tells me, I send out, into the Facebook world. I'm like, anybody have anything spooky happen to them in Lyon Mountain or, in the mines or anything. So he tells me, he's like, yeah, when to Lyon Mountain, every time I go there, I hear whistling coming from the mines or I hear people walking around or
I hear it now.
but he's not the only person who told me about the whistling. There was maybe 3 or 4 other people that also said, I've heard whistling coming from there. Like people just wandering around, working down there. Other people also
Oh,
said,
I've heard of this. Yeah.
yeah, they just heard like people whistling
It's
down
like
there.
a thing. Like,
And I gotta tell you, there's no fucking people hanging out in there.
No,
there's
there's
like
not.
it's not a place you can really just go crawl in and hang out.
Oh my God. You know what? I just realized when we went there, the person I was with brought up the whistling.
yeah,
Because
I've
he
heard of this.
lives on the road that leads up to those buildings that are there. And he had mentioned about the whistling thing. And the guy I was dating at the time, we went up there, he kept whistling and like trying to scare me. And it just was annoying because he didn't do it very
I think it's like a thing
well.
if you're in Lyon Mountain and you start whistling, like another Lyon Mountainer will be like, ooh, that Lyon Mountain whistling or whatever. And they'll be like, oh, you know what it is. I know what it is. You know what I mean?
The whistling. So yeah, that's a big, a common thing I heard amongst people that sent me some information about their experiences.
Dude, if we hear any fucking whistling when I go there, I'm going to run out.
I'm
Aaron-
really excited
Aaron,
to.
I don't know why I call you Aaron. Andrew.
Aaron.
Please don't leave us in the mine. We're not going inside the mines. We're going inside the buildings. I'm going to make that clear. Mom, if I disappear, don't look in the mines.
I want to
go-
go. I thought we were going in the mines.
Depending
You can't-
on
it's, like, totally
there's, like, one
unsafe.
spot you can go to that's not super unsafe, but you just don't go in all the way because
Yeah.
there's like 150.
It's like the
foot
Blarney
drops.
Stone. If somebody holds your leg, you could look in there, maybe kiss it.
What's the
Don't kiss
Blarney
it.
Stone?
The
What?
Blar- the Blarney Stone in Ireland.
You have to go kiss the
Oh,
Blarney
yeah,
Stone
and catch
so you can
HIV
get
or
luck.
whatever.
And then you get the hepatitis C.
Like me father before me and his father
Just
before
like me
him.
father.
You get the hepatitis C.
I forgot about that. Well, that's spooky. I can't wait to go there. That'll be a good time.
So yeah, that was a big thing I heard with a lot of people was they
That's cool.
heard whistling. Other
Yep.
people had said they've heard people walking around. Sounds like there's work going on in mines, like the normal, mining sounds that you would hear. Right. Like people working, people hitting on pieces of ore.
motorcycles running by.
Yeah,
People just
you're like,
coming.
did you guys hear that?
People coming all over the place.
People came. There's dried cum everywhere.
Yikes.
So when we go there, we should definitely work on getting some EVPs.
Yeah, sure.
And taking a bunch of pictures. That'd be really cool.
And I have access to a GoPro that one of us can wear. That'd be fun.
Oh my God, me with a GoPro. That'd be
Yikes.
fuck
People have
hilarious.
also. This is going to scare you, Andrew. Sorry,
Hold on.
but
Liz with a GoPro. I just see a right hand with a cigarette going up and down.
that is all it's gonna be.
I mean, if she wore it on her chest, maybe
Yeah,
that's all it would be.
all you'd get. Yeah, just smoke coming up. But what's gonna scare me?
I'm sorry, but the whistling is the least of your worries.
Oh, ominous.
People have also felt like they are being watched.
Mm.
They're
Yeah,
staring you down. People have also felt people breathing on them.
What?
Okay, ew. No.
Breathing on their necks. Breathing on them.
Yikes.
So,
Because there weren't a lot of women in the town, so when shows up,
They had
oh my
to make-
God.
ooh, yeah.
Countrymen make do.
So they've heard footsteps.
The
They're
breathing
coming
on
for
me
you.
thing, I don't know if I can handle that.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it
Wow.
to happen. My body is ready.
So,
Well,
Andrew,
shit.
please don't leave us in there.
All right. I'll try not to.
You can leave me in there. Fucking
Sorry,
leave me.
Liz. Just kidding. I would never leave you in there.
Yeet me into the mine.
I would never yeet you into
Well,
the mine.
That's
But people may or may not breathe on you.
All right. I
We
can get
will
breathed
find
on.
out.
You
Bow, bow, bow.
guys ready for story number 2?
Yeah, sorry my
Oh,
story
fuck.
wasn't as funny,
That was cool. It was a good primer.
Oh,
but
it's totally
I thought,
good.
like, hey, let's talk about this cool ass place. Has a cool history, also scary.
I'm really excited to go there. And you know what else I'm excited for?
Mm.
Maybe a little break.
You can take a break. Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Louder.
Ow!
Break.
Where's the fucking mouse there? I knocked over a microphone onto the mixer. That's the scary. Like, it's the worst thing you
That
could
was
do.
that was actually probably the scariest thing
yeah.
I've seen so
Ton of
far.
it.
Because the mixer
on
is
this
brand
podcast.
new. We all collectively purchased that thing.
Yeah.
So
Hey, so thanks for coming back and not turning off your listening device and just continuing to listen to our podcast.
It's appreciated.
We just talked about video games for about a half hour.
Yeah.
and about the world's worst calling out excuses.
Oh,
calling
yeah.
into work excuses. I would say
Oh
calling out.
yes, we also did do
Yeah.
that. So hey, Andrew.
Hey.
I feel like you have a spoopy story as well now.
I have a spooky story as well now.
Andrew's
well
got
now.
a story.
All right. So, like Amanda's, this will be my first time telling a spooky story. So let's see how it goes.
Ooh.
I set the bar nice and low. Don't worry about it, guys.
Wow.
A tip for
not
some
true.
people, if your brain works like this, I did the research and wrote the story today because I had the day off. And it wasn't procrastination. It was because it would be extra fresh in my mind.
Oh, that's how you gotta do
Right.
it, man.
All right. So in 1997, a Japanese animated movie called Perfect Blue was released.
No,
Never heard of that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
I have.
It's
heard
based
of
on the novel of the same name.
that. Yeah.
The main focus is a character named Miba Kirigoe, a member of an up-and-coming pop idol group. You guys heard like the K-pop groups?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
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 It's the same idea. They're
Idols are horrifying. Well,
They're like
the
baby
mythos around the
Yeah.
Korean pop idols is horrifying.
there's a lot to it.
Yeah, a lot.
It's not exactly the same, but like a Japanese form of that.
Google it.
They were called Cham, like CHAM. Initially, everything is great and their group is gaining success and fame, but Mima decides that singing is no longer her passion in favor of becoming an actress. Like every little girl or boy or whatever you are. She struggles greatly with this decision, but ultimately takes the mic, and before their final song of the night, she announces her retirement from Cham and her new career as an actress. Mima is extremely eager and nervous to begin her first roles. Despite some backlash from her fans, she remains adamant about her new career. Mima's management team, represented by Rumi, a compassionate mother-like figure who used to be a pop idol as well, before she changed her careers, and the guy named Tadokoro, middle-aged guy, he like pressured her into like going into acting instead of
I just want to say you're killing
singing.
these names. I would have butchered them.
I've watched a lot of anime in my time.
Naruto.
I don't watch that one. Tadokoro, he seems well-intentioned, but soon he finds that there's a lot of work available for young 16-year-old, I think she's 16-year-old Mima, in projects she might not have chosen, including like nude modeling. And there's a scene
So
of
just
like,
me being a creeper about it.
yeah,
Ew.
like he put her into this
Fun.
movie where there's like a gratuitous like rape scene.
Oh
where
my
she was
god!
The focus
What
of.
the fuck?
But he was getting her jobs, you know what I mean? And even though that's not what she wanted to do, she went along with it because, you know what I mean? She didn't want to put anybody out for bringing her this far.
Right.
Anyway, she becomes aware of an online website known as Mima's Room, a seemingly harmless fan site with a fan-made personal diary, written as if it was Mima herself. Discomforts arise when Mima realizes this person writing these diaries is actually aware of her day-to-day life. It's like,
Oh,
I think
it's a stalker.
yeah, like the
Smells
exact
like a
line.
stalker to
At
me.
first, it's cute, like, "Oh man, thank you for the fans are coming out today." But then it's like, later on that day, he said, "I stepped out of the subway with my left foot, like I always do," and she's like, "Oh my god, this is
Where
fucking."
it's like, I had a grilled cheese naked today.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it was grocery. It was groceries. It was like details about her house, the
Oh,
specific
fuck.
groceries she got. She brings it up to the female lady of her management, and she says there's nothing to worry about.
It's just some really devoted fan.
Yeah,
It's totally
It's
fine.
it happens to everyone.
Just
This
get
is
used to
totally
it. That's
not the opening
stardom.
to you getting murdered. It's fine.
Don't worry about it.
So this is the movie, right? This
Yes.
is what we're talking. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mima, she really begins to struggle with this change from being a singer to an actress. She fights with like who she perceives as her old self, the old pop idol, and the new actress self. And it's only exacerbated by the growing success. They're a duo now, Cham, and now they're like on the billboards, and it's like
Right.
a big deal. They're getting bigger than ever.
They're living like way better without her.
Yeah.
She's like, this is fine.
And-
I'm just being forced to do porn.
And like they're not like snotty about it, but whenever she sees them, she's like, I could have been there. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Way to go, beach.
And then the story takes an extremely darker turn when some of the producers associated in this new direction for Mima's career are actually murdered. Brutally. I think they're stabbed with an ice pick.
They got murked?
Murked. They got murked. They got
Ooh.
stabbed.
Oh, no. With an ice pick.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, shit. No,
Ew.
I was thinking about an icicle.
Oh.
I was always,
I mean, you
know,
could stab somebody with one of those.
well,
Sure.
no, I always assumed when I was a little kid that killing somebody with an icicle was the
There'd
best
be-
way to murder
there'd be no
somebody because it
evidence.
would melt and there's no evidence.
I thought that too.
I thought about that all the time.
Unless they get like a cadaver
I
dog or
always
something.
thought about murder.
I'm gonna
Ooh.
we're gonna try it and we'll get the results back to you on the next episode.
Okay. In about 1 month
Yeah.
when the icicles are there.
When they're back, yes. And summer is over.
In July.
Mima, she starts receiving like threatening faxes, phone calls, which is
A threatening
it
fact.
said it's from 97, all right?
Okay,
But it's
okay.
just like you're just like sitting in your living room, so like trink,
Like, yeah.
trink, 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 and it just says I trink a trink,
Will.
trink a trink, will trink, trink a trink,
There's no
And then it
kill.
kill, trink a trink. Me, me, me,
another one has to come. They ran out of space.
Drink, kill, and you're just like, oh my god,
Someone's gonna kill someone. But yeah, some people calling her, and there's just like deep breathing on the other line and stuff like that. And she's starting to feel paranoid all the time. At the same time, she starts noticing the same man in the crowd anywhere she goes.
Oh,
Be it like at the concerts when she was in Cham, or on the production set when she's filming. So she then kind of becomes obsessed with this online diary, the Mima's room. And she can no longer. She's struggling with determining what's real and what's fake. Like she can't, because since they're written in her first perspective, she's confused on what she actually felt.
She's like, am I crazy?
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of the posts were like, man, I wish I never chose to be an actress. I really want to be a singer still. And she's like, I miss all you guys, my fans. So she was really struggling with that. She has extremely vivid nightmares about the murders.
Ooh. Just very vivid murders.
Yes, very vivid.
Am
Blood
I
all
murdering
over.
these people?
But it's like, who is writing Mima's room? Who is the strange man following her? Now, I'm not going to spoil it here, but the story concludes with confrontation, and the twists are incredible.
Confrontation.
It's, literally, yeah. Perfect Blue is an incredible look at obsession and the lengths some mentally ill fanatics will go to be close to their idols.
I mean, that's true. I've watched, let me tell you when I say a lot of true crime and a lot of stalker shows. I mean, there are whole shows out there specifically about what things stalkers have done.
Mm-hmm. And that activity is a precursor to all those things almost.
And it's totally, I have watched episodes of, stalker shows and things exactly like that have happened. And it happens all the time. I feel like,
do you guys think it's less likely that it's random people that are killed suddenly? And that it's more commonly that they're like scoping them out? Which one do you think happens more?
I feel like you always scope somebody. If you're stalking somebody like that.
Well, it depends. It's really common among serial killers their first couple of kills are usually impassioned. They don't plan on doing it. Maybe like they thought they could get away with it, and then they pick their victim at random, and then from there,
stalking is a totally different situation.
No, what I'm talking about is that like when a lot of murders, from people who are like strangers, it's a serial killer will kill people without stalking them first. And then they will start to go on to enjoy the actual hunt, and then they're more obsessed with the process of killing somebody than like the actual idea that they've just killed somebody. But then there are, obviously stalkers. Yeah, like it will eventually potentially end in murder. But for a lot of people that like a career stalker, the stalking is the most fun for them. They don't really necessarily plan on murdering.
Right.
If you murder them, you can't stalk them anymore.
Yeah. And I think there are some stalkers who just love to stalk people. There are stalkers
voyeurs.
Those two. There are people who just really love stalking and terrifying people.
Yeah.
They don't want to kill them. They just literally want to scare the shit out of them, and pretty much their brain is fucked forever.
Yeah. Now there's that concept where like the I don't know, the most foolproof way of killing somebody and getting away with it is going to not telling anybody you're leaving, not leaving a paper trail, going to another city where nobody knows you, doing it there, leaving them there, and then leaving, going back to where you're from.
Yeah.
There was a movie or something.
Strangers on a Train.
Yeah, where they just both agree to kill each other's wives or whatever.
Or each other's husbands.
Yeah.
They met on a train. They decide they both, I think they must have really hated their husbands. Now I can't remember. Yeah. But they decided to kill each other's husbands. And if the other one killed the other one's husband, they would have no ties to them whatsoever. So it was kind of like a perfect murder where both of them, their husbands were dead.
See, I've always been like really angry at somebody and like wanted to kill them. And then I just fantasize about like wearing a ski mask and bludgeoning them to death like when they're about to get out like into their car. And then I just walk away.
I gotta tell you, I've never thought that.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I'm killing people literally all the time.
I don't.
That's
I do. But maybe that's why I have a lot of internalized anger, but I take care of it in a healthy way by fantasizing and chain smoking cigarettes.
I suppose so, yeah.
Nobody else thinks about murdering people?
I don't think about, no. I watch a lot of murder. I try and think of like,
See, I don't watch any murder stuff.
I watch so much murder.
And that's how I digest my rage. But I also very, very infrequently get mad enough at somebody that I want to murder them. There's only been maybe 3 or 4 people throughout my entire life where I was like, yeah, I could murder you if I knew I could get away with it, I would actually kill you.
I mean, there has been a couple people in my life that I have just loathed so much that I wished ill will on them, or I thought about maybe torturing them in the heat of the moment, but never thought I could actually bludgeon the person.
Really?
To death.
I would
no, never.
I would so capable of being able to bludgeon somebody to death. Like I can't help it.
No,
if I'm so angry.
I don't think I've never gotten that upset at somebody, or at least when I am, it never goes to that.
I just always hope something really bad happens to them. I'm like, you'll get yours.
Like if somebody like cuts you off on the highway.
I always think I hope you get in a horrible car crash that nobody's hurt, but you have to pay a lot of money.
Something like
that.
You're so
Yeah.
sweet. I fantasize about actually.
I just hope
Hitting them
like
with your car.
like bad things happen to them.
Yeah.
Maybe not like health wise, but maybe just more psychologically.
Yeah, like
To get some sort of just desserts.
Yeah.
Or you get a really bad food poisoning.
Yeah, shit for a year.
I hope you can never get that thing out of the back of your throat and you're just making that.
I hope you
all
have.
day.
I hope you have tinnitus forever.
Oh.
Hey, I have tinnitus forever.
My grandfather does too, and I never knew it until
I have
recently.
to sleep with a fan on.
Me
It's
too.
not great.
But I don't have tinnitus. I just like a fan.
Yeah, I never fantasize about murdering
You're
somebody.
fantasize.
Oh.
Never.
But the thing here is,
Yes.
Perfect Blue is a novel and a movie,
Yeah.
a work of fiction.
Yeah.
So why the fuck am I talking about it on our
I was
real
wondering,
story?
but I figured it was
like anime.
right? Yeah.
I thought it was going to tie in. But
Actually, I just like anime.
We were talking about Yu-Gi-Oh earlier.
Now where
I
this
just really love anime. And I'm Andrew.
it's me. Where this gets really interesting is 1 year into development of the movie adaptation of Perfect Blue, 1996. The artists and crew were shocked to discover that their story had come to life.
Oh.
Bum, bum,
Now this is where it gets a little bit less cool.
Which is like I told you, I've heard of things happening like this before.
And I think the quintessential example of that sort of thing is what I'm about to talk about.
Oh, okay.
It's an extremely big story, and most people are familiar with it now. But it took place in 1996. I was 2 years old. I kind of missed the boat on it. I've heard about it, but I wasn't aware of this story until like 2 years ago. You guys have heard of this before. In 1996, a disturbed Florida man named Ricardo Lopez.
It's always in Florida.
Yes.
I just got to add that in.
It is. He lived in
Florida
Hollywood,
man.
Florida. Exactly. I didn't realize. I knew the story. I didn't realize he was in Florida. And I was like, fuck. I was trying to write this around him living in Florida, but I'm like, you can't.
You got to just say Florida.
It's just
All
a
the
Florida
crazies
man.
come out of Florida.
They really do. But he's the guy that attempted to mail that explosive device to Bjork.
Oh, yep.
famous
Okay.
singer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Swan dress.
Is that one of her songs?
No, she
okay.
wore that swan dress to some awards ceremony or
she
something.
did.
Mm-hmm.
Her music is okay.
It's okay.
I'm a fan of like a third of it.
I've only heard it
2/3 of it. I can do with that.
in the spooky videos that this guy made.
Oh.
For 4 years, Ricardo was filming himself talking to a camera, talking about his obsession with Bjork, leading to over 20 hours of footage that
Jesus.
that's has since leaked online. Actually, that's how I found out what that was. I saw a video that was. Well, let me see how I finish this. Okay. Before I say that part, reported attempts by his friends and family to get him mental help. He didn't heed them. They reached out to him and he never took it.
I heed you not.
He
I'm gonna murder Bjork.
he showed nothing. The videos show Ricardo's racist disapproval with Bjork's relationship with a guy named DJ Goldie. He disapproved that they were in a relationship seemingly because he was black. Like if you watch the video, he's dropping N-bombs the entire time. What I was leading into before is after he managed to send this package, I think he hollowed out like a book and he put the explosive in it, so if you open the book, it blows up on you. Oh. He actually shot himself in the head on camera shortly after sending that the package. Yeah.
Wait, did he record himself?
Yeah.
Shooting himself?
Yeah.
Did he send it to Bjork?
No.
I remember. Okay. Yeah.
I think they're on VHSs and they've since been recovered. And, you can just find it probably just on YouTube.
It's on a Faces of Death VHS somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah, it's like that's a lot of people's entrance into that kind of internet territory is they see that video, they hear about it because there's a big story, and then they start looking up beheading videos and
all
shit.
sorts of snuff films.
They never clearly rented those VHS tapes
Yeah.
from. I don't even think Blockbuster had them. I think it was more sketchy.
No snuff films and
But like Faces of Death. Did you ever watch those?
Yeah,
I never.
I've rented those from under one roof.
But what I'm
are they real?
yeah,
thought that was
Faces,
real
it's snuff film.
well, here's the thing. So Faces of Death is not real.
I think
No, what the guy came out a while ago and he was like, it's based off of things that were real, but then they hyperbolize them.
Well, they made it.
Yeah, and they're meant to be real, but like they take actual footage and then they cut in a finish or something like that.
Okay.
Like they hyperbolize it. But then there's actual snuff films. Like, if we want to bring it up to like our area for a second, there was that guy who was murdering all of his lovers and like then like fucking their dead bodies on camera. And he also murdered some guy on camera with a fucking screwdriver. And all that stuff was online, and you could watch it. And those are actual like snuff films of like people being killed or getting killed on.
And then
camera.
what was that other movie where they thought, where it was said, it was rumored to be the person had been killed by this like Papua New Guinea tribe of cannibals.
Oh, Cannibal Holocaust.
Yes, yeah,
okay.
that's fake.
It is fake.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just an
It's
actual
sort
movie.
of though. A lot of the animal stuff is real.
A lot of the animal stuff is real. And
I watched
that is-
that.
Yeah, don't watch that.
I wish I had
Do
seen
not
that
watch that movie.
I mean, I
also,
haven't.
There was that new the movie that they're supposed to be filming in Cannibal Holocaust, the Green something.
Oh, the Green Inferno.
Yeah.
The Green
that's already
Inferno.
out.
That was recently made.
Apparently, it sucked ass though.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, it's because it's
parts
a
of it were
modern
it was
film.
kind of funny. Parts of it were kind of funny.
But yeah, Green Inferno is supposed to be the movie that they were supposed to be filming during Cannibal Holocaust. But yeah, that movie's fake too. But it's still like, I mean, for the time, and the reason why Cannibal Holocaust was such a huge thing is because for the time it was groundbreaking, like as far as like horror goes, and whatnot. And there's a ton of movies that came out around the same time in the 90s that were just super fucked.
Yeah.
But a lot of the snuff films and it kind of like started out the same way that like Can't Kill Yourself and stuff like that started, where it was or CKY for people who don't know, who aren't as ancient as I am.
Who is that is pre Bam Margera.
So
pre Jackass.
These movies were created just by kids in the 90s creating essentially video zines, and you make a copy of it or you pass it on to your friend, and then your friend's going to pass them on to another friend, their friend's going to make a copy of it, then they're going to pass it on. And those movies, like I've watched quite a few like that. They were mostly like big with my cousin who was a skater and was a graffiti artist. And there'd be skits and there'd be all sorts of shit on it, but occasionally there would be one that's like a snuff film or like, you know, ones that are just like really fucked up stuff.
So you don't know what you're gonna get, kind of.
Well, no, you do, because your friend's gonna recommend it to you. But like if your friend's a freak and you're a freak and you're like, yo, and they're like, dude, this guy I met in, you know, fucking Montreal, because Montreal's a spooky ass city. I'm sorry.
Some weird stuff
There's some
there.
weird shit. Weird European shit.
I stole a giant Oriental fan, like giant.
I heard about that.
Out of a hostel fucking wall that I stayed in Montreal. And just took it right off the wall and took it home with me.
And theft in Montreal. But yeah, and so there's just you would share those videos with people. And this was like before the internet, obviously, was that huge of a thing. I mean, the internet obviously existed in the 90s, but that's how those kind of movies and like snuff films and stuff existed, which is where they got inspired to do Faces of Death.
Right. Okay.
So
I guess
anyway, now that I'm done with that.
with like Perfect Blue and the Bjork thing, that just makes me think like first off, it's crazy to see that these people, these fanatics, will go, even if it's not a famous person, they get so in depth and so obsessed with a person that they'll follow them around, chronicle all their daily activities and stuff. But it's also extremely bizarre. The crux of the story, the reason I told it, is because that happened while they were making that movie.
That's crazy.
That being said, the novel had been out for like 2 or 3 years before they made the film adaptation. But still, it's just so bizarre to me. Can you imagine making a fucking story? What if like tomorrow they release a podcast about a movie where people were releasing a podcast and they all killed each other? What do you know what I mean?
Oh my god!
Like, what the fuck?
No, totally.
What's the movie? Fuck.
I would have been like, maybe we shouldn't make this movie, guys. That reminds me of the Chaos
And we picked
Stream
that
shit.
death card.
Yeah.
No,
No,
it totally
the devil.
Is. It
Sorry,
is
we
totally.
picked the
It
devil
is
card.
totally the Chaos Stream. Fuck. Okay. So what is that guy? Will Ferrell. He's in that movie. Where he comes to find out that he is the character being currently written by a woman.
Yeah.
And she is notorious for killing all of the characters at the end of her books. What the fuck was the name of
I
that
have
movie?
no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my god, it was so good.
We'll keep talking. I'll look it up.
So basically, he lives his life every single day, and there's a narrator for the first 5 or 10 minutes
With
of the
Will
movie.
Ferrell?
With Will
Yeah.
Ferrell. It's a
Step
such a
Brothers
good-
guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Anchorman, such a good movie. I saw this in theaters and I fucking loved it. But it's just like, this is John. I don't know if his name is actually John, but it's like he wakes up every day at approximately 9 a.m. and has 1 cup of coffee, blah, blah, blah. Did you find it?
Yes, it's Stranger Than Fiction.
Stranger Than Fiction.
I have never seen, nor have I heard of this.
It's so good. And it's just one of those like well-rounded movies that it's like good from start to finish. And it's like gets kind of dark and then it gets really good. But it's about like he's living his life and then he's like reading this book and then he realizes that everything that's happening in the book is happening to him. And he's like, oh my God, I am this character. And he finds her and he's like, you can't kill me. And she's like, I have to kill you. But she doesn't believe him, thinks he's crazy. And then she's going through this whole thing of like, is he actually my character? And so she kills him and hilarity ensues. I just realized I didn't want to spoil the entire movie.
Is it a serious movie or is it a funny
It's like
movie?
a dark comedy, I
Okay.
would say. I don't remember it being that dark, but it has its moments where it's a little like, "Eh." But leading back to the chaos stream, it's like, is it Hero of 1,000 Faces? I'm totally brain farting on the fucking author, and that's gonna drive me crazy. But it's basically the idea that everything is cyclical. And every story is every story. So if you write a story, that story has happened in one way or another to somebody else. And then there's like, you have the Bible is the same as Star Wars. And the reason why those arcs and that works is because it speaks to us as humans, because it is like tied into the human experience.
Otherwise, those stories wouldn't exist.
Exactly. So it's like, and that can tie into the chaos stream, where it's like everything is the same and everything is based off of everything. And in chaos magic, that's how you can learn to manipulate the universe, is by basically pulling at those like chords and creating those ripples. You can learn to bend the universe to your will because you are manipulating the chaos stream when you are like fully like into it. And that's where it echoes that every story is every human and everybody lives every theory.
I was wondering if you guys thought that maybe them kind of taking that adaptation, I don't think solely, but them operating in that energy zone, do you think that may have drawn this real life event
It could
out?
have.
in
Yeah,
some
it
sort of way?
totally
I'm
could
not
have.
going to rule it out. But
Yeah.
I'm a spooky person.
Like,
yeah,
I'm not going to
no,
put all my
totally.
not going to put all my eggs in that basket because
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe anything.
Yeah.
Or it
But,
was like when
like-
people said like the Poltergeist movies were cursed
Yeah.
because people that were, working on or
Were getting
actors
injured.
or
They all
actresses.
started to die after, right?
Yeah.
Well, one definitely died.
a couple did.
A couple did?
Yeah. I
think
Damn.
so,
I
yeah.
thought it was just the creepy girl died. And that's
She
why
died.
in Poltergeist 3, like the last 15 minutes, isn't her anymore. and that's why they
Another
don't show her
person
face.
who was working on the movie died, and I think another person who was, and maybe it was the older sister. I can't remember who, but somebody after the filming was done got really sick with something, and they ended up dying. I can't
Oh,
remember
no
if it
shit.
was.
Well, they did use real human remains during the pool scene. That also might be an urban legend, but I do remember hearing
That
that
might
that
be
was
an
one of the
urban
reasons
legend.
why
What
they thought.
was the pool scene again?
The pool scene is when the mom falls in because they're redoing their pool and all these dead bodies start
Yep.
popping up, because the reason why the house is haunted is because
Indian
they buried
burial
it.
ground.
They buried it on top of a fucking like giant ass like cemetery and didn't tell anybody. Like the
Oh,
ground
okay.
is tainted.
It's
Ah!
been a
You
But
didn't
anyway, that's
move the
Pet Cemetery.
bodies.
Yeah, you didn't move the bodies. You son of a bitch, or you bastard! You didn't move the bodies.
Yeah.
They only took the headstones from the cemetery. They
Yeah.
didn't.
Oh,
They
wow.
didn't move the
Pet
bodies.
Cemetery
That's
is
the
the
same
ancient
shit,
Indian
isn't it?
burial ground.
Yes, but it was also. Oh no, it was a cemetery.
Yeah,
You're right.
It
in
was just a
Poltergeist.
normal cemetery, and they just
Why
fucking
is it
built a
spelled
house on
with
top
an
of it.
S? Is that just to make
Because
it cool? Or is
that's
that a different-
because kids made the pet cemetery. It was a cemetery created for all of their pets that had died by really sad children. So the sign "Pet Cemetery"
Oh, it's just spelled it wrong.
it's
'cause they're
spelled
cute.
it wrong because they're
Oh.
Oh, are you
kids.
talking about the new movie?
No, it's always spelled with an S instead of a C, and I was like,
Oh, no
fucking
shit.
why?
I've never
I've
noticed
never
that.
seen the
Yep.
movie or read the books.
It's because it was made by really sad children
Oh.
from their pets dying.
Oh, sad
Womp
shit.
And their little
Aw.
sign that says Pet Cemetery was written by children.
And they don't know how to fucking spell because children
Right.
are stupid.
I'd be remiss to mention this, but because I'm a gamer boy.
Gamer.
I've been getting into the Warhammer franchise recently, and I promise you this is going somewhere.
I'm just looking for a Warhammer.
I don't know what that
There's a little
is.
bit of breeders for. That's a deep cut. Anyway, keep going.
And it's really bizarre that you bring up this chaos stream thing, because the world in Warhammer.
Is it weird that I bring up? the
It fucking
Chaos
really is,
Stream?
because I've just like before like literally like maybe a month before we started doing like the last episode is when I started to get more into Warhammer. And the way that there's the sides of good and then there's the bad side. I guess that depends on what you believe. But the chaos forces, they exist in this chaos realm. It's called there's a chaos rift, and it's like another dimension. And there's 4 gods. They don't have an actual they don't have a physical manifestation, but they exist.
Yeah.
And those forces are fueled by different energies that are off-put by the beings in the universe. So if there's a giant genocide, all of that death and stuff, that energy is harvested by one of those chaos gods, and then that gives them strength to put their abominations and manifestations into the real astral plane, the real existence plane. What am I trying to say here? Reality.
Yeah.
Whereas they otherwise they have no domain. They can't do anything without that energy.
Yeah.
So the clearly Warhammer must have adopted that idea from this real idea, this real life example of the chaos stream and stuff. It's even called the chaos warp. It's like forces of chaos. That's what it's called.
Well, that's exactly. I mean, God, there are so many different things that tie into like the whole idea of like chaos theory.
Mm-hmm.
There's like the butterfly effect. You know, with that whole like a butterfly flaps its wings and then it causes a tsunami on the other side of the world. But then there's like the idea of like the collective consciousness or the collective unconsciousness. Carl Jung was really like into studying it. Like there's been like actual scientific like homeboys going into these things and like trying to study all of like, I mean, oh my God, like I'm
scared to get into his stuff. I'm scared to get into that stuff.
I cannot recommend it enough. And it's also fun because it's the hero's journey. And that's that. Have you ever heard of the hero's journey?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. It's mentioned in Hero of a Thousand Faces and all of that. But it's, it is all of us. It's all of our, like everything that we have all experienced, we are all capable of tapping into and harnessing for ourselves. Whoa. I think it's the Invisibles, which is a comic book by Grant Morrison. King. Oh, you know what? Fuck. I'm so bad at remembering names because I have lead poisoning and I'm dumb. But King Moob. Oh, fuck me.
Something like that.
The anus. So he can summon like the idea of John Lennon, and John Lennon can give him the wisdom of and like the aesthetic of John Lennon, and he can use that to do some kind of like magic. Let's say you want to be really brave and really smart and cunning, then you imagine Batman, and by becoming Batman and harnessing Batman's energy, even though Batman doesn't exist, he exists in the collective unconsciousness. So you can pull the idea of Batman towards you, and you can essentially become Batman.
All right, is this a thing, like a real thing, or this is from something else?
This is a real thing.
Oh, okay.
Like this is.
I'm not trying to sound condescending.
This is like the idea behind chaos magic.
Whoa. That's so fucking. That's scary because like. There's tons of things.
There's tons of bad stuff. Yeah.
There's like not Batman specifically for me, even though I have a Batman mask on the wall. But there's tons of.
You also have a Hank Hill mask on the wall.
I do.
So
God damn.
I want to be Bob.
Yeah, you guys don't need to sage the room. I got Hank in here.
Yeah, you got it.
But no, there's
Lady
Bird.
Bird.
I'm trying to look at like an example of in this room. But like
you got like Slipknot shit. That's spooky as fuck.
And some pumpkins
and corn.
I have this giant poster. It's not up right now, but there's. I guess I got a giant Dragon Ball Z. It's actually a blanket.
Goku. You're
fine. Like no, he's not. That's not a character I specifically have drawn on. But there has been characters in my life that like once I see the stories that they go through, I don't know. I'm just kind of. I don't like base my life on fucking anime or anything. But like I'll remember that character's struggles and how they reacted in something and how they were strong. Yeah. And that gets me through shit. So maybe it's not just mental.
No, I don't know.
I mean, like
I gotta tell you, I've never done anything like that.
Really?
No, I think a lot of my like too much. I don't know.
That's why you're a fuck up. That's why you're not a doctor. That's why you didn't make it with that doctor.
That's why you're not a doctor.
That's why you're not a doctor.
You didn't become a doctor, a lawyer. Nothing.
It's an incredible theory, and the only scientific part, and please feel free to Google this if you want to. They did a study with the New York Times crossword, or actually no, it wasn't New York Times. I think it might have just been a crossword, but they had like, I'm gonna pull this number out of my ass. They had like 100 people do the crossword, and then they all solved it, and then like a week later, And they also like gauged how hard it was. And then like a week or a month later, or maybe even sooner than that, they had 100 more people do it. And those 100 people made it like did the exact same crossword, but it was far more easy, and they got the answers far more quickly than the first 100 people.
What the fuck?
And part of the reason why they thought of this was because it was the idea that the answers were already out there. The puzzle was out there with its answers within 100 people.
Wow.
And that was within the collective unconsciousness.
Ooh, that's interesting.
And please Google that, because I know it's a thing.
Yeah.
But that's part of the study of like our brains are all connected within the collective unconsciousness. And when you tap into that, you can essentially, you know,
Well, and it's kind of interesting too,
bend things to
because,
your will.
you know, they say things like that happen to twins where
Yeah.
they have this weird connected
Hey, you
energy.
have one of those, don't you?
Yeah.
I do. I have an identical twin.
You've experienced that.
To an extent, but and it's only weird things like we've never, like, she never broke her arm, and I'm like, oh, my arm hurts.
Right.
Like
a voodoo doll.
No,
Yeah.
like nothing like that. But
Because that's very Hollywood too, though.
yeah. So, I mean, things have happened where we have been thinking about the same song, but now she lives in Florida and I live in New York. So sometimes I'll bring up something and she's like, the fuck? I was just thinking about that. Or I'll call my mom for the first time, like, I don't know, 5, 6 in the afternoon, whatever. And then my mom will say like, oh, your sister's calling me on the other line.
Yeah.
So we'll call my mom like almost at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Almost every day. And today, even I called her and I was like, oh, what are you doing? She's like, just got off the phone with your sister.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So things like that happen all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, it's super interesting.
Or actually this is a really weird thing. Sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
it's totally cool.
But before I forget, there was one day we were watching that video over at L'Oreal's house about this like 420 cooking guy. And he was wearing this really
Oh my
funny
God,
shirt.
yes.
Oh, I've seen- on YouTube? I think I've seen
Yeah.
this guy, yeah.
I mean, he's not like a high cooker, you know what I'm talking about, but he was just doing this special and he was a really funny like YouTube cooking channel. And I think it was like Dave the cooking guy. I don't know what it was. Anyway, so I had never seen him before. We're watching this show. It was a special 420 episode. They had cheesy ramen and I was like, oh, fuck me up.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, he was wearing the most hilarious shirt that said legalize marinara. And it had like, I think that's all it said. But my sister, while we're watching this video, sends me this shirt that says legalize marinara.
While you're watching it?
While we're watching the show, I was
Whoa.
like, and I had just said, dude, that guy's shirt is so funny. So she sends me this shirt and I show Liz, I'm like, dude, no fucking way.
And it's like the most random. I had never
That's such
heard
an
that
out there
saying
thing.
in my
no,
life.
me either.
And then it just like twice in like one, like what it did. That was crazy.
And so then I was like, oh my God, you're never going to believe this. And she's like, what? So I have L'Oreal stop the show. I take a picture of the guy wearing the shirt. And I was like, we're watching this show. And this guy has this shirt on that says legalize marinara. And I had just said how funny I thought it was. And I sent it to her and she was like, you're fucking with me. I'm like, no, I'm not fucking with you.
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
That like basically ended there. But that was so fucking weird.
That is crazy.
You gotta. One way that you can really tap into it is like recognize synchronicities, like be fully aware of like look at the little things, like pay attention to the little things. Like one thing for me is repetitive numbers. I see them all the time now.
Oh my God. What's your numbers?
1111 and 444.
Oh my God. Mine's 1134.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
Oh my God.
Every time I look
Mine's 3.
You see 333 a lot?
Actually, I used to wake up at like 3:33
Yeah,
every morning.
I swear to God.
Or like 5:15.
Yeah. Pay attention
That
to
was
stuff
weird.
like that.
It's like
and
anytime
acknowledge it.
I talk about it all the time. It's 11:34 whenever I look at the fucking clock.
That's nuts.
That's hell time.
Yeah. Yes, because when you turn it upside down, it's just hell.
Yeah.
4,
And you got
3.
the devil.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, and the devil card. We're saging the fuck out of
Shit.
this apartment.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm kidding. Sage can do nothing against the devil, but that's okay. Hail Satan. Yes.
Well, I don't think
All right,
Jews believe
cool.
in the devil, so
No,
I'm
no.
So you're
safe.
safe,
Fuck
you're
you
fine.
guys.
Yeah. That's great.
Well, okay. So before we do the user submitted story, I did forget to mention we like to cite our sources. I got like that idea of the perfect blue. There's a review on YouTube by a guy named Super Eyepatch Wolf. I talk about him like every fucking episode of the Trashcast. I love him so much. Please go check him out.
Let me be your boyfriend.
A lot of my information actually came from local websites that had been made about the historic the little museum that's opening up or has opened up since this has come out.
Yeah.
And a guy actually wrote a book about Lyon Mountain, so I got some of the information from that. I can't remember the author right now, so shame on me.
Just Google book about Lyon Mountain.
But I
and it's
think the
probably
majority-
I put Aber. You talking about Aber Road? Or are you talking
Abbey
about this
Road.
one?
No, the one that Amanda
Oh,
used.
this one. Okay.
Most of it actually came from that website, talking about the museum that was going to open up, and
Cool
it was
beans.
just like kind of a local website somebody made.
I'll find that. I'll put the link in the description.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, if you're watching on YouTube.
If you're watching on YouTube.
If you're listening on podcast app, I don't know what the fuck. I don't.
If you want to read The Invisibles by Grant Morrison, highly recommend it. It's a very long series, and it's also mentioned in the Disinformation book. Can't remember the authors of that because I'm an asshole. But Disinformation is a really cool.
All right.
Cool.
Also, one last thing.
What's the last thing?
I messaged you guys last night because I started watching this movie about a cryptid, the Bog Creek Monster.
Oh, yeah.
And come to find out, well, Liz already knew this, but Andrew and I did not.
Nerd.
They made this company made
Small Town Monsters.
Small
Great
Town
production
Monsters
company.
Yes, they made a movie about that exact same story that Liz told last week, which
Beast
was
of Whitehall.
Yes, the
Yeah.
Beast of Whitehall. So if anybody gets a chance to check that out, I haven't watched it yet, but it is on my weekend list.
Is
They
it
have
on Prime? You said you watched it on?
Yeah, it was on Prime.
They have another video or another movie that's airing here next this Saturday that I hope we can all go to. What was it called? Something Hills. Hagrid from Harry Potter Hills.
It wasn't Hagrid Hills.
Well, it's the same production company, but hopefully
No
we'll
shit.
check it out.
Wait, it's being released in Plattsburgh?
Yeah, I sent you the picture. We have a poster of it up in the co-op.
Oh my god, that's so exciting! So, Small Town Monsters is coming to Plattsburgh. I'm going to poop myself because I've been wanting to meet those guys, or it's probably just a showing. They're
It's
probably not actually
probably
gonna be
just
here.
a showing. I'm trying to.
That's
I
totally cool.
think it's just a
But
showing.
that's super exciting. Yeah, Small Town Monsters, awesome. They did another one of the. I think they're the ones that I watched with the Mothman.
I think they did do a Mothman
Yeah,
one.
they did a Mothman one. They did the Beast of Whitehall, the Monster of Boggy Creek, and
Yeah, the Boggy Creek
They're
Monster.
also working on one that's I think it's called. It's not Finding Bigfoot, but it's like they're doing another one about Bigfoot, and
Yeah.
This guy is actually delving. It's like
locating Bigfoot.
Yeah, it might be locating Bigfoot.
Really?
To be completely honest. But yeah, one is when they're studying the mythology of Bigfoot, and then the second one is where the guy actually goes out himself to understand why these people are so dedicated to hunting Bigfoot.
Very cool. It's name of the movie that's going to be airing this Saturday is called Stark Hills.
Ooh,
Hopefully we can check it out. It's for our Mayor's Cup.
That'll be
Nice.
super awesome.
But all right, enough of the rambling around.
Enough of us being weird.
Yeah. Did you hear that?
Oh, right. So, got some exciting news, you guys.
What is it?
We got our
What?
first email.
Yeah!
Woo! If you guys have a scary story, highly recommend sending it into scaryitches@gmail.com.
That's the one.
Highly
And
recommended.
we
Or
wanna-
just to us personally if you know
Or-
us.
yeah.
4 out of 5 users recommend it, so
That's pretty good.
So we did get our first user submitted email.
yes.
Whoa.
Super excited about it. This one comes from Wendy.
Ooh,
Who we
Wendy.
talked about last week. So.
Yeah,
did.
she was one of the ones who showed up out of nowhere. One of those fun synchronicities. All right, so let's settle into this spook right here.
So,
When I was about 16 years old, a bunch of friends and I would go camping at Carpenter's Flats, basically every week during the summer. The flats are a floodplain along the Saranac River in between Peru and Keysville. To get the camping area, we would turn off the main road after a bridge and drive down what was more of a dirt path than a road. There were numerous offshoots from the path road, and the surrounding woods were always thick with vegetation, including ferns that would get it to be about 6 feet tall. It was the kind of place where you wouldn't have been really surprised to see some large wild animal materialize from the underbush. Once you were far enough down the path, there was a sandy area where the river was slow and deep. This was usually where we would set up our tent village. It was remote, usually quiet, and we would often have a whole area to ourselves. Even though we spent a lot of time there, we were pretty comfortable in the woods. There were times when it would just feel different, kind of off, like there was more than what the eye could see. One night, we were all sitting around the table, all 8 of us, in the screen tent playing 3-Man, a drinking game using dice. We played a drinking game using dice. We played it all of the time, yet I don't remember the rules. LOL.
Lol. Thanks, Wendy.
We had a fire going outside the tent and the lanterns hanging inside of it. We were the only ones there that evening, and we were definitely not quiet. Well, yeah, you were blasted off your ass. During a break in the game, a few of us left the tent to tend the fire. Out of the darkness towards the river, we heard a very loud splash, followed quickly by another one. We all stopped and looked at each other to confirm that we had heard, and then again, 2 more splashes. It sounded like very large rocks or branches being thrown into the river, much louder and bigger than a fish or a beaver slapping its tail. We shouted, "Who's there?" to see if maybe there was another group somewhere. There was no answer, and the splashes were coming from the other side of the river where people didn't camp. Everyone was curious and a little spooked, but we brushed it off and continued our game. Eventually, we crawled into our tents and went to sleep. It was in the morning when we got really freaked out. Whoa. The sand on the riverbank was very packed down. When any of us walked on it, we didn't leave any footprints, especially in the area further away from the river and closer to our tents. That morning, near a tree that was relatively close to my tent, I saw 3 very distinct footprints in the hard-packed sand. 2, much larger than a human foot, sunk about 1.5 inches into the sand, and 1 smaller in size, but sunk 1 inch into the sand. I showed my friends, and most of us agreed that weren't made by any of us, and that it was kind of worrying. Some of my friends brushed it off and said they must have been there already. At the time, I was pretty spooked, but didn't want to give up on camping, so we never talked about it again. When I look back on it now, I'm convinced we upset a local Bigfoot family, and they came to check on us.
Wow,
after
I
trying
fucking hate motorcycles.
They rode in on their motorcycles.
When I look back on it now, I'm convinced we upset a local Bigfoot family, and they came to check us out after trying to warn us with the log rock throwing. That's actually a very common Bigfoot thing, is they throw rocks at tents.
Actually,
and they slam sticks.
What, really?
Against, they slam sticks against trees, and they'll do like the barking.
And it's weird because I got so much deja vu when you were reading the story because I was watching that Boggy Creek Monster movie last night, and they were specifically talking about how, like, on this river, the sand was really packed, and there was these heavy footprints when you would walk on it, and normally your feet would not leave a footprint, but these were giant and like 1 to 2 inches deep in the sand. So it's so weird that she said that, and it felt like she almost had watched that movie last night and was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
but
that's me.
It's totally weird, total deja vu.
Yeah.
Anyway,
she just finishes it up saying, "The Adirondacks are much larger than a lot of people think, and parts are extremely remote. I don't think it's crazy to think that there are animals out there that we don't know about yet." So thank you so much, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy.
Is an awesome story.
Thanks, Wendy.
Is that going to be our thing?
I love me some fucking cryptids, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
All about that shit. I absolutely love that
it
story.
has all the trappings of a fucking Bigfoot story.
It does.
Every single one of it. And that's what they do. They throw rocks. They throw sticks. And thanks again. That was awesome.
Thank you, Wendy.
So just to reiterate, if you guys have a spooky story you want to share us, if you have a spooky picture you want us to share on our Facebook page, send it to scaryitches@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And we will definitely post your shit up.
Yes, and if you have a story, if you have an itch you want us to scratch.
Oh,
You have a scary itch.
You want us to scratch for you?
Not in the groin area.
Well,
I'm not touching that.
it depends on who's groin.
It depends on how scary it is. I might actually want to see it.
I want to see. I want to see.
So if you have a scary itch you want us to scratch, send it in.
Thank you guys so much. We've been scary. You've been itches, and you've been scratched.
Yes.
Something like that. We'll work on it. Ooh. Bye, everybody.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I'm
No.
killing people literally all the time.